Yeah, I wanted to get this in because I was thinking about the Hill HX-50 helicopter and the movie Weird Science and JCPenney. It seemed to be that there's a fashion um, back how long ago, what year in the 80s, I'm not sure if I actually remember, but there's like a design of some of the summer swimwear in a kind of like a spiral diamond shape with JCPenney. And it's in the commercial um, on YouTube that you're watching like right now, that I'm on right now. Actually, not on right now, but actually going to upload on my channel at youtube.com at WadeASVPriddy, P-R-I-D-D-Y. And I was thinking about that because I've mentioned, quite a bit about that. Quite a bit, really. And, the latest was kind of like about the Mercedes-Benz and the smart car and Cyan IQ and the Saturn Sky. And it's kind of like with alphanumerics and linguistics and practical application, integration, compatibility, and quite a bit about that. And I was thinking about, the Lexus LF SA compact concept. And it's like that is like in English, there's the thing about the why one pronoun of 4 types of pronouns cannot be used as a subject. And I used a picture of the Lexus LFSA compact concept in the video, and it's kind of like that's becoming like a significant thing about it. But anyway, I was thinking about that commercial with Hill helicopter, about the Hill HX-50 helicopter, because there were some certain factors of that's in it's titled Luxury Time. And it's almost kind of like the alphanumerics. I'm thinking it's like 168, and I'm actually going to have to think about it. But it seemed to be the 168, and when and where the number 171 was like exactly where it was at, and very much a location on a wall thing, and very much about the building itself. Yeah, so like in any case, yeah, so and it's kind of like automatically, it's like a pronunciation thing of like Apple iPhone SE being C or the third letter, or the language saying SE and yes, and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, yeah, so like I was thinking about that because of Paradigm being 71. But anyway, it's kind of like in that particular commercial, infomercial, there's probably a little bit more about it. And the thing about living quarters that I'd mentioned, involving like fixtures in real estate, it seemed to be the thing about it. But I'm going to have to think about it because JCPenney, as a matter of fact, has the design that's in the commercial. The summertime swimwear, and that is one of them that's actually in there. The design with like a spiral, like a perpendicular spiral, that the signal processor, and like even medical technology involving like chemistry, and when it's an orbital type of three-dimensional thing. Yeah. In any case, so that would be almost like the Hill HX 50 is really kind of like orbital. And when it's going up, it's kind of spiral, although it's like a different perception of just knowing. Well, anyway, so like I was thinking about that because I'd ordered that, and what it is, there's a classroom setting. It's a little bit different with a different color shirt than actually what's going on. It's kind of like the memory thing about it's like really the thing about it, and something on my mind, because as a matter of fact, it's kind of like I was watching quite a bit and realizing quite a bit about how memory has been a major factor in a way that really is kind of like in any case, so like that was something on my mind because during that commercial I noticed that, and hey, that was one of the things about the Stargate program. So like in any case, so like I was watching it and I noticed that design because it's like automatically I'm thinking of JCPenney and Macy's. As a matter of fact, there's Macy and JCPenney. And if I'm not mistaken, I've seen them at both, but it seemed to be the Macy's and that, as well as being a New York thing as a combination. It's kind of like a combination of the question, in the movie Weird Science, will a penny fall faster? Will a penny fall faster than a feather in a vacuum tube? okay? And so I was kind of like thinking about that because of the question in word science presenting that thing about it, because what it ultimately gets to is that J.C. Penney being the store department, for clothing and shopping that way, um, kind of seemed to be the significance of the movie and the thing about the will a penny fall faster uh, than a feather in a vacuum tube. The thing about it is, it seems to be like the thing about Superman. It's a bird, it's a plane, yeah. It's the beyond the Hios over. It's the blue and purple bird of like the Israeli flag and the Israeli bird, the whoopa. Yeah. But anyway, it seemed to be like the combination of the two colors and quite a bit. I'm going to keep this a little bit kind of short because I'm actually going to think about, and I'm kind of like jumping right into it. And I was thinking about it a little bit earlier, but the thing about both, I think it was Macy's and JCPenney that had that particular design. It's actually in the commercial. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because like um, certain factors that had been mentioned, when and where I was at, kind of like the Orion Performance Monitor involving like networking, where it's like predominantly, really pulling a lot of cable for configuring like networks for like normally mainframes and, either locating or relocating and installing or removing or terminating like what would be like terminology as an end user, as a terminal, like in a configured network for predominantly like interdepartmental communications involving mainframe. Well, anyway, so like that was kind of like one of the things about it, and in any case, so like I was thinking about that because of um, the last purchase I've made. I've kind of like really um, kind of like had a need. I've had a need for a little while. Hopefully, it won't stay that way. But I'd ordered a deluxe scooter glider, and ultimately, it's getting to Actually, I received what was sent and what I was delivered was an E-Wheels EW12. I mean, it looked virtually identical, other than the name that's on it. But it seemed to me, I mean, it's ultimately getting to like a WIA international thing of what like music video presents in the way. Um, I mean, if it's ultimately getting to like like I say, auditing legal media and deposition as like what content is on television or music video or what intellectual property in that way would present. Yeah. So in any case, it was kind of like that as well as the scooter itself. Um, Having three wheels, and it's like named the glider. It's kind of like it's like the taxi thing, and it's almost like the Queen's Rag song, Jet City Woman. Um, and in my mind, her background vocals is almost in my mind. Um, I haven't actually seen her. I may have, but in my mind, I have an idea of what I think she looks like anyway. But I hear the similarities, what I see as and hear as, not really see, but hear as the similarities of like an anatomy in the way of physical structure and appearance in my mind. That's what it is. And it seemed to be her background vocals involving that Jet City Woman song and with Queensryche, and all she says is like taxi. And in my mind, she's like somewhere in my mind, like a Universal Air Force and like an English genius about quite a bit about it. And in any case, that's the way I think of it. She says taxi, okay. And the thing about it is that I just bought this uh, mobility e-scooter, okay, and it's titled the glider's got the three wheels on it, and I'm having to return it, okay, is the thing, because it's really not getting the description as far as the 40 miles on one full charge on the battery, and the blinkers aren't working, okay. Well, anyway, so like I'm trying to get it returned and go on and probably maybe get another one or a bigger one, or maybe the Free Sky Rocky 1,000 watt electric bike is real cool. But anyway, I'm thinking about getting that as well. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, I was kind of like thinking about that with a pilot being a glider, kind of like a pilot that isn't required to have a pilot's license. It's kind of like a flight simulation of the commercial that's included with the Hill HX-50 helicopter, and the wheels are like three wheels. It's kind of like it's almost like a whole bunch of combined information. It seemed to be like kind of like about the available information, and I was kind of thinking about that because the way things have really been happening is kind of like where I'm at. I study alphanumerics and linguistics, practical application, integration, compatibility, analytical, and all kinds of stuff. And it seems like really, when I was like making, using my standards that I normally have chosen, like back in the 80s, this is the year 2024, okay? And several years ago, I started doing, just as a standard, for myself that I chose like throughout the years for singing and like playing the drums, okay. And, looking to get musicians that are like into, pretty much what I talk about on YouTube.com at WadeASVPriddy, Priddy, okay. And the thing with this is that getting to my original music has really not really been an easy thing, or feeling comfortable about not having a perception of like yeah, actually keeping my own music without it just like going like straight into the air and hey, where to go kind of thing, but in any case, yeah, so like when I get to the point of like having a recording studio, it's kind of like it's ultimately seemingly getting the need for the commercial venue of Living Quarter, and have a whole new perception like other than like what a normal neighborhood would present. And it really seems to be like really just seriously as serious as a method of banking, or even if it's degreed and now it seems like even in a degree that's not like in a commercial venue, concrete, steel, I-beams, and you know my thought has been 5 floor with a basement with like a huge generator to like support the entire deal in the event of a weather issue and or an emergency, a power outage, and 3 floor like secured covered parking with like 2 horizontally propelled aircraft, yeah, and the hill, yeah, HX-50 helicopter, yeah. But anyway, so like I got this mobility scooter that I'm having to return, and I'm in the process. It's like really been really not funny or cool about kind of being frustrated about it, but I was thinking about that because the glider in some of the videos that I was looking at, and it's kind of like it had ultimately got to like the taxi um, on the runway of like what would be normally like a pilot would be like taxiing would be like towing, like importing and exporting of like plane horizons involving huge shipments of maritime law as compared to some idea of like the Aviation Administration and Federal Communications Commission, or even the thought of something amphibious that would present that in the form of like, I mean, almost like gliding and idling that way of a pilot. It's kind of like kind of gliding based upon just the RPM, and being in idle, really not in drive or accelerating, but a set standard that would present maybe, the thought of like a pilot's license almost taxiing and at the speed of like towing, representing what the deal is about even maritime law that way of importing and exporting of plane horizons as compared to what would be presented as a pie chart in business law. um, Towing being something other than a commercial venue of like living quarters and the building itself as compared to like what would be considered maybe a residential, whether it's charter district zoned or um, if it's segregated in a way of like a communications, regardless of whether it's you know um, a residential area or a commercial venue, like the building itself, and a whole different perception of the way it's standard of living, or what signal strength is that way with like the redundant frequency, or being above it all, or not um, subject in a way, because it seemed to be ultimately that the neighborhood has gotten to be like any neighborhood, especially with the K television, the radio thing about the subject. Yeah, so it's kind of like, why the one pronoun of the 4 types of pronouns. It's kind of like I was thinking about that because I went to Mercedes-Benz for several reasons. And before I even was like, even, it's really before June of 1992, I went out there and test drove a smart car, okay? And years later, I went back, like after like June of 1992, and went out there and looked again. Really over the Alpha America 71 in Pearland, okay? Because it's like the smart car, and ultimately, um, the smart meter and NRG as compared to like Reliant Energy. It seemed to be the thing about the degree above the categorization of like a method of banking, and even in a bank at all, beyond the bank thing about what energy, seems to be more about of a degree level of above it all, of circuit, not necessarily the thought of like non-negotiable, non-transferable ionization, whether a degree or not. I mean, being in the bank is ultimately getting to the paper thing about not being like completely electronic, or like the name and identity, and a handshake is the beyond the credit thing, and it accomplishes that fact. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So like in any case, so like I was thinking about that because the deluxe scooter glider, and it presents like everything that's in the commercial plus a fashion statement that, if I'm not mistaken, I know Mercedes, and I'm almost for certain that JCPenney likewise is the same. I think those are the two that actually had that. And I'm trying to actually think real quick if it's really the issue, will a penny fall faster than a feather? And I'm trying to think real quick because I know that Macy has this star, and it's like a big deal, like during the holiday season with the parade. And sometimes it's actually a Macy's, holiday season parade. But yeah, so I'm kind of like thinking about that real quick if I can. Um, yeah. Well, anyway, so like it seemed to be like the thing that I'm trying to place, if it's got the relation and demanded requirements of like Abraham Lincoln Night Vision between Macy's and J.C. Penney, and the movie Weird Science that presents that question: will a penny fall faster than a feather in a vacuum tube? And the thing about that, it's a bird, it's a plane. Yeah, yeah, it's like a Flag Day thing about the Abraham Lincoln Night Vision going through like a North American Free Trade Act, as compared to what might be considered as real estate, borrowers' terminology of non-negotiable, non-transferable itemization, living in a neighborhood and like going to the bank, yeah. But more on a national level, it seems to be, a little bit more along the lines of political science in a way, like the North American Free Trade Act. Like, most people don't know what they're even doing in the bank, and don't even know that's even an issue of even being in a bank, and a normal daily standard transit obviously don't really even know what they're doing in the bank, and really think it's just like in and out kind of like thing, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So like so like it gets to like the NATO treaties organization, North Atlantic Treaties Organization, and ultimately the thing about the how Zion, and that one thing about the F in NATO and the pronunciation, even AOL between the NATO and the North Atlantic Treaties Organization, it seemed to be the difference between NATO with the O and the NATO with an A, and getting to like it's like the America Online, the AOL thing between the two. And I can go on about that, and I probably will later. But anyway, I was thinking about, the pilot that doesn't need a pilot's license because of it taxiing. And quite a bit, British Petroleum having the colors of like, I like to sprite in you. And it seemed to be like really the big deal about, really truthfully, the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade being three, or even, the third letter in the alphabet. I mean, like the 3-year period, 3 academic years of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, predominantly, and I'm pretty sure it's like, I have to think about it real quick, but anyway, I think 1976 would probably have been the 7th grade. I'll actually have to think about it, but in case, it's like right in the middle of the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, like a 3-year period, or the third letter, the 3, thing about being, even the alphanumerics of 56, ultimately getting 56 to 10, or like paper made, and the pronunciation in alphanumerics and the alphanumerical and all that stuff. But anyway, yeah, so like it seemed to be like an intellectual duration of like a world class of what information seems to have the significance of color code quite a bit and symbolic in a way that probably would ultimately lead straight to NATO and Geneva, Switzerland, and like the summit meetings involving like WadeASVPriddy International and American Amplified. Although many people's perception of like American Amplified is automatically the Living Bible, and Commercial Venue Living Quarter as compared to Living Bible, really is not hard to explain where the quarter is, and the 90 degree in the quadrant, and the Mathis Power thing, Living Bible, American Amplified Living Bible, and the thing about it, so it ultimately got to that, and I just want to it's going on 19 minutes and like 15 seconds right now, but I want to include that. I might go on, I might upload this, I probably will, but I want to include that because it seemed to be like really, my interest really about the commercial venue, uh, and the living quarter, and really, having a thing about it, and music video production, audio production, and entertainment law that way, with like all the amenities and accommodations, to really get it in with production and distribution, as well as organizing, what I would see as organizing the thing about it, and still having it, and quite a bit about getting there and above like the traffic, right? So anyway, so like I wanted to include that because I mean, the thing about the Queensryche is like 140, okay? The 1980s rock band, and predominantly my thought of like the Empire, and quite a bit about the Empire and compact disc and thing about that one particular, not limited to, but yeah, that one specifically, and in that way. So anyway, I wanted to include that because it seems like something that's like really, I'm really predominantly talking quite a bit about quite a bit, because it seems to be like auditing, legal media, and deposition. It seems to be like the presidential executive and legislative thing about the where business law, where family law and business law and corporate law seem to present, and where the circuit and what goes beyond the thought of the categorization of money, or even religion that way, with like the 12 tribes of Israel, or the absolute Christianity, or what the thought of the circuit and VSAT communications, and all the electrical power, the international electronic engineering organizations is identified as like the largest in the entire world. Okay, organization, and all that, including like space exploration and VSAT and all that. So like yeah, I wanted to include that because there's I've mentioned quite a bit, but think about the scooter and mobility presents that like the glider, and certain factors like that, and I want to include that, including the flight simulation. It seemed to be like all about the taxi and the Hill HX50 with the 3 wheels on it, because it has like 3 different types of landing, and one of them has like 3 wheels, and it's like for like taxiing or like gliding. Amazingly true. Any case, like, and it has the other type of landing. I think there's one for like land, which is like the flat, dual bars. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So like anyway, so like I'm trying to think about that as well. It's like GMC saying raising the bars, like on the on maybe the landing gear of a helicopter. Yeah. So I have to think about that as well. But anyway, I want to include that real quick because anyway, I'm gonna take a break now. Okay, talk to you later.